2024 brought some big sci-fi and action movies, but how did they really rate? In this video, we'll break down the highest, low, and lowest rated films of the year. From blockbusters that blew us away to those that fell flat, let's see how 2024 stacked up for these genres. Dune. Part 2 continues the epic journey of Paul Atreides as he rises to power on the desert planet of Arrakis. This installment dives deeper into the political intrigue, massive battles, and the mysticism of the Freeman. With incredible visuals, a strong cast, and Hans Zimmer's haunting score, this film stands as a masterpiece in sci-fi cinema. If you loved the first part, this one ramps everything up, delivering an unforgettable experience that blends action and depth perfectly. Deadpool&Wolverine brings the unlikely duo together in a mix of humor, heart, and hardcore action. After years of anticipation, this movie finally gives fans what they've been waiting for: Deadpool's snarky wit paired with Wolverine's brutal fighting style. The banter between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman is fantastic, making this an exhilarating ride with a perfect balance of comedy and the darker elements we expect from these iconic characters. A prequel to Mad Max, Fury Road, Furiosa explores the backstory of the iconic character before she met Max. In a desolate, post-apocalyptic world, Furiosa fights for survival in a journey of revenge and redemption. The film delivers the intense action and visual spectacle we love from the Mad Max franchise, with Anya Taylor-Joy taking center stage in a role she truly owns. TheSubstance presents a thrilling sci-fi narrative about a mysterious material that could change the course of humanity. As governments and corporations fight for control over it, a small group of rebels attempts to expose its darker secrets. The movie blends thought-provoking themes about power and human nature with high-stakes action. It's an underrated gem, offering a fresh perspective on the genre. Alien. Romulus takes the franchise to a new, chilling setting. A group of explorers on an isolated planet encounters a deadly alien species, sparking a fight for survival. The film expertly blends the suspense and terror of the original Alien with intense action, keeping the tension high throughout. It's a strong addition to the series, delivering the fear and thrills fans expect. CivilWar pits humanity against itself in a futuristic setting, where technology and power lead to global conflict. As the world teeters on the edge of chaos, a group of unlikely heroes steps up to stop the war. The political drama mixed with thrilling action sequences makes this film stand out. It's a smart, timely take on war and peace, with enough action to keep the audience engaged. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes introduces us to a new ape society, but it doesn't quite capture the same magic that made the earlier films so iconic. While the story of rebuilding society is interesting, it lacks the depth and emotional weight we've come to expect from the franchise. The world building is solid, but the film doesn't dive deep enough into character development, making it feel more like a good entry rather than a great one. The Ministry-of-Ungentlemanly-Warfare follows a secret British force tasked with taking on unconventional missions behind enemy lines. The premise is intriguing, but the film's pacing and lack of character development hold it back from being truly gripping. It's an entertaining watch with action-packed moments, but it doesn't fully succeed in fleshing out the characters or delivering the high stakes that the premise promised. It's fun, but it doesn't make the impact you'd hope for. BadBoys. RideorDie brings the dynamic duo back for another round of high-speed chases and explosive action. While the chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence is still undeniable, this film struggles to bring anything fresh to the table. The action scenes feel a bit too familiar, and the plot doesn't offer much in terms of new excitement. It's a fun, nostalgic ride for fans, but it doesn't push the boundaries of what we've seen from the Bad Boys series in the past. Twisters takes us back to the world of extreme weather with a sequel to the beloved classic Twister, but it doesn't quite live up to the original. The visual effects are impressive, and the storm sequences are as thrilling as you'd expect, but the story falls flat. The characters, though competent, don't have the same depth or emotional pull that made the original such a fan favorite. While the film offers excitement, it doesn't quite capture the heart or intensity of its predecessor. This reimagining of the cult classic RoadHouse has some solid action scenes, but it fails to live up to the charm and intensity of the original. The performances are decent, but they don't have the same raw energy that made the first film such a hit. The fight choreography and stunts are fun, but the film struggles to deliver the emotional punch that fans of the original were hoping for. It's a solid action film, but it doesn't quite stand out in a way that justifies its reimagining. Venom: TheLastDance continues the chaotic dynamic between Eddie Brock and Venom, but this time the film falls short of its potential. The relationship between the two remains entertaining, and there are some fun moments, but the over-the-top action and underwhelming villain weaken the impact. The film could have benefited from a stronger storyline or a more compelling antagonist. Instead, it feels like a missed opportunity to elevate the Venom franchise to new heights. Ghostbusters: FrozenEmpire brings the Ghostbusters team back for another supernatural adventure, but this installment doesn't quite measure up to the iconic films that started it all. There are some fun moments, especially for longtime fans of the franchise, but the story feels underdeveloped, and the characters lack the same charm that made the original films so beloved. It's a decent watch for Ghostbusters fans, but it doesn't offer the magic or nostalgia fans were hoping for. GodzillaxKong: The New Empire delivers the epic monster battles that fans crave, but the film falters in its plot and character development. The human characters feel forgettable, and the storyline doesn't provide much depth beyond the monster brawls. While the visual effects and action sequences are impressive, the lack of a compelling narrative leaves the film feeling more like a spectacle than a truly memorable experience. If you're here for the monsters, it delivers, but don't expect much beyond that. Code 8. Part 2 picks up where the first film left off, exploring a world where people with superpowers face oppression and discrimination. While the premise is strong and the action scenes are solid, the film struggles with pacing and a lack of depth in its characters. It doesn't do enough to expand on the unique world established in the first movie, leaving it feeling like a missed opportunity to truly explore the consequences of living in a world divided by powers. It's a decent watch but doesn't quite elevate the story or stakes. Spaceman follows an astronaut stranded in space, attempting to survive in the isolation of the void. The film leans heavily on its introspective and emotional aspects, but it struggles with pacing and fails to create a truly engaging experience. While the central premise could have led to a compelling story, it often feels slow, and the emotional beats don't land as effectively as they should. The visuals are nice, but the narrative doesn't quite pull you in, leaving the film more forgettable than it should be. Slingshot follows a crew of 3 who find themselves in the midst of a high-stakes mission that pushes them to their limits. While the concept has potential for a thrilling ride, the film struggles with pacing issues and underdeveloped character dynamics. The performances are solid, but the story doesn't quite deliver the emotional punch needed to keep viewers engaged. Despite the exciting premise, Slingshot leaves you feeling like it could have been much more, leaving a sense of missed opportunity. In Atlas, a futuristic world is thrown into chaos as a powerful AI takes control, with one woman fighting to stop its global dominance. While the premise sounds thrilling, the execution leaves much to be desired. The film's pacing is slow, and the characters feel flat, making it hard to get invested in the high-stakes battle. The visuals are impressive, but the lack of compelling dialogue and action leaves the film feeling more like a missed opportunity than a must-see sci-fi adventure. RebelMoon-PartTwo: TheScargiver continues Zack Snyder's space epic, but this installment struggles with pacing and character development. The action sequences are grand, but the film's reliance on spectacle over substance makes it hard to connect with the characters and story. While the universe Snyder is building is intriguing, the film doesn't fully capitalize on its potential, feeling more like a middle chapter rather than a standalone piece of storytelling. It's visually stunning but lacking in emotional depth. A remake of the cult classic, TheCrow, 2024, fails to capture the essence of the original film. While the premise of a man brought back from the dead to seek revenge is compelling, the film falls flat with weak performances and a lackluster storyline. The emotional depth and dark atmosphere of the original are absent, leaving this version feeling like a hollow imitation. The action is fine, but it doesn't do justice to the legacy of the original Crow, making it a forgettable remake. Based on the popular video game series, Borderlands attempts to bring the chaotic world of Pandora to the big screen, but it misses the mark. The film is filled with chaotic action and over-the-top humor, but it feels disjointed and fails to capture the spirit of the game. The characters are one-dimensional, and the plot doesn't do enough to make you care about the stakes. While it has its moments, Borderlands ultimately feels like a missed opportunity for fans of the game and newcomers alike. Megalopolis tries to build an ambitious vision of a futuristic city, but its storytelling falls flat. Despite impressive visuals, the plot feels incoherent and the characters lack depth. The grand ideas are overshadowed by uneven pacing and missed emotional connections, making it a film with unrealized potential. It looks great, but the execution just doesn't hit the mark. That wraps up our look at the highest to lowest rated sci-fi and action films of 2024. Some movies delivered unforgettable experiences, while others missed the mark. What do you think? Did any of these surprise you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.